Hello, my name is Ramona Bran, and on behalf of our research team, I will present our paper called Microblogging Meets Politics, the Influence of Communication in 140 Characters on Romanian Presidential Elections. First, I will provide a brief overview of microblogging, then I will briefly talk about the technical background, afterwards I will present the data analysis, and finally I will make some remarks and provide some conclusions to our research. With the advent of new media and social media, mainstream media have lost their monopoly over the coverage of political news and debates. Thus, the Internet has become an important medium for various forms of political communication and participation in recent years. There is broad agreement that new technologies such as blogs, social networks, and microblogging platforms gave citizens an unimagined ability to filter and personalize the information to which they are exposed. With the advent of new media and social media, mainstream media have lost their monopoly over the coverage of political news and debates. Thus, the Internet has become an important medium for various forms of political communication and participation in recent years. There is broad agreement that new technologies such as blogs, social networks, and microblogging platforms gave citizens an unimagined ability to filter and personalize the information to which they are exposed, while at the same time dramatically increasing the amount and range of information which is available to these. Statistics for 2009 indicate that the situation is the same in Romania, Internet users here being interested less in politics and more in information about entertainment. Statistics made by various research institutes show constantly that politics is not a top subject of online discussions for Romanian netizens. Entertainment, sports, and shopping are favorite topics of online discussions and searches, politics not even making the top 10. Nevertheless, the interest for political information seems to grow during election times or important political events, for instance the NATO summit, European elections, and president election, as we shall see later. Microblogging is considered one of the most important Web 2.0 technologies of the year 2009. It allows users to publish online brief text updates in 140 to 200 characters. The post can be accessed online, by mobile phone, by email, via instant messaging clients, and by third-party applications. Through platforms such as Twitter, Identica, Tumblr, Plurk, Edmodo, or Chirip, microblogging has mashed up communication and personal publishing to create a compelling new form of real-time publishing. Twitter has the most spectacular ascending curve with 190 million users in May 2010 and a large variety of uses. In some states, microblogging, especially through Twitter, proved to be an efficient political communication tool. It all started from the huge success of the American President Barack Obama's online campaign in 2009, which was immediately replicated in other countries. In the UK and Germany, for example, microblogging was also used during electoral campaigns, both by staffs and candidates and by citizens. On the other hand, in countries like Iran and Moldova, it was employed by ordinary people as a means to voice their opinions against the political regime. For instance, the so-called Twitter revolution from Moldova in April 2009 was one of the most popular topics on Twitter. The political analysts Evgeny Morozov and Alina Mungiu PPD have written extensively about this event. Microblogging was also used during the European Parliament elections in 2009. Thus, the site Europa Tweets. Microblogging was also used during the European Parliament elections in 2009. Thus, the site europatweets.eu aimed to connect the public with politics. Under the slogan, "What is Europe doing?" it tried to promote a better and more transparent communication between voters and candidates or members of the European Parliament. Another site, tweetelect09.eu gathered all the messages posted about the. In Romania too, the global trend of employing microblogging along other social media channels as a communication tool in electoral campaigns has caught on. From candidates to the presidential seat who created accounts with the obvious intention of convincing people to vote for them, to politicians, parties, campaign staff, and NGOs, we witnessed an explosion of Romanian microblogging accounts. Hence, according to sites, in Romania during the elections, around 30,000 Twitter accounts existed. Since the previous elections in 2004, the number of Internet users has increased with one of the highest growth rates, now almost one-third of Romanians having access to the Internet. Notably, a larger number of persons are registered in urban areas. Consequently, the online presence of politicians has extended to most major parties and candidates. They were having a website that includes links to their blog, Facebook account, YouTube or Flickr accounts. The presidential elections in 2009 took place in a different political, economic and social context from the one 5 years ago because they were organized after Romania joined the EU, after a 5-year presidential term, without coinciding with elections for parliament. And they also appealed to a mature social media taking place online both on dedicated sites and on blogs, microblogs and other social networks. For Romanian online politics, microblogging proved to be an open space with no clear boundaries, and that was beneficial for the political environment. The use of this technology has changed the power balance in the relation between the Internet and the public opinion, with users having a more active attitude in transmitting information and becoming aware that they can make their voices heard. Half of the Romanian presidential candidates, 6 out of a total of 12, had microblogging accounts during the electoral campaign. However, could we say that communication through microblogging has had an or any influence on the Romanian presidential electoral campaign? Given the specific topic of our study, the use of several technical terms is inevitable. However, those who are interested in these technical aspects can find them detailed in the full paper. In this presentation, I will clarify certain notions and terms regarding the microblogging site Chirip. In the spring of 2008, under the coordination of the first author of this paper, Chirip.eu was launched. It is a microblogging platform especially designed for education and business. Its implementation was realized by TeamSoft, a company specialized in e-learning and mobile applications. The interface is in Romanian, English and German, facilitating an international collaboration with around 10% of its users being foreigners. Chirip.eu now has about 15,000 users and it is featured in the top 100 tools for learning published in 2009 by Jane Hart from the Center for Learning and Performing Technologies in Great Britain. Because the research field in itself is new in Romania, investigating such a topic as ours could only be done through an explorative type of research meant to provide a first image of the phenomenon. Consequently, the aim of our research is to make a preliminary evaluation of a new social reality without attempting to draw any political marketing communication strategies, since that is outside our field of expertise. Thus, the initial analysis can lay the foundation for the elaboration of ulterior and more thorough research, which is also reflected in our work hypothesis presented above. Our research was facilitated by the online project Elections in 140 Characters, developed on the microblogging platform Chirip.eu, by creating, at the start of the campaign, a public group called Prezidențiale, which was dedicated to the presidential elections. Hence, on the 22nd of October 2009, this group became active and it was open until the end of the elections in mid-December. The group was organized by the authors and had as members users of Chirip interested in the presidential electoral campaign. The aims of our group were to constitute a framework for communication and debates, to be a source of real-time information, to offer access to all the group content, visualizations, and statistics in order to be informed during the campaign, but also for future reflections and research. Our group has gathered more than 42,000 messages, around 88% of which were important from Twitter, 2% sent by Chirip users, and 10% are posts from blogs. Starting from Younger's recommendations, we have decided to present the results from the Group Presidentiale regarding the use of microblogging in political communication on three coordinates: community, communication, and conversation, as you can see in this figure. Microblogging as community building. When discussing microblogging as community building, it is obvious that within the Presidentiale group, it was established an online community with intricate lines of discussion and influence from candidates to regular users and vice versa. The microblogging elements helped users to connect and socialize naturally. Therefore, potential voters made their voices and opinions heard by politicians and their electoral staffs. The process demonstrated the validity of Cohen's statement. Microblogging can break down barriers between people who are generally perceived to be far away from us in some way. The statistics provided by Chirip indicate several important quantitative aspects, as you can see in this figure. By looking at the Twitter accounts of the candidates, some common characteristics can be noted. The accounts were opened at the moment the campaign started or not long before it. Messages were written in the first person and contain announcements, events, links to other resources, but rarely interactions with other users. They follow a small number of users, except at Mircea Joana and at Remus Cernea. Some of them stayed active after the elections too. We can thus conclude that, except at Remus Cernea, the other candidates did not participate effectively in the debates in 140 characters because the number of messages they posted is reduced and only a few of them are addressed directly to users. They do not try to interact or to pick up, comment, analyze problems raised by users in order to gain new or more votes. However, it is a good point that almost all continued to be active after the end of the campaign. Microblogging as communication back channel to political events. Debates from traditional mass media such as TV and radio shows, printed press articles, documentaries, roundtables, or even meetings with the electorate were either disseminated or discussed with arguments in favor or against on microblogging platforms. The TED Cloud you can see was automatically built by Chirip and displayed in a dedicated zone of the Presidentiale group. It shows that comments about the candidates and vote preferences prevail. We can compare these configurations with the way in which information about candidates was reflected in traditional media, TV channels,